Hello and welcome to the Blood Vessel Screencast, starring blood vessels and narrated by me. This is a fairly short one, which belies the complex nature of the material for this chapter. So I'm going to go over some of the stuff that I didn't get to cover in the videos and, maybe weren't explained as well as possible in the photos, but the photos and videos are going to be very important for you, as I'll remind you at the end. Okay, so let's look at some of the microscopic detail here of arteries and veins. At least we can see them. We see some tiny veins and venules there. Like this is a vein over here, you can see it, and this is an artery. And I want you to notice right off the bat that this tunica media, this middle tunic, is a lot thicker in the, what the heck's that little symbol? A lot thicker in the artery than it is in the vein. That's right off the bat. Oftentimes you can tell that the veins are going to be a little bit squished compared to arteries. They tend to maintain their shape a little bit better on a slide presentation because of the thickness of their walls. The three tunics can be seen here pretty clearly. The tunica externa or adventitia, you can use either name. Usually it's mostly dense irregular connective tissue. It's different for some smaller ones, but we'll go with that as a good generalization. That's kind of the external connective tissue layer that's going to supply the blood vessel with innervation and with its own capillary beds and circulation. The tunica media is the middle layer, and this is mostly smooth muscle tissue, and so this allows your vessels to constrict or dilate depending on the need. And you can see that that's the really thin one in the veins. Veins have really low blood pressure. They're just kind of squooshing the blood back up to your heart. The arteries are under tremendous pressure and need to have a strong, resistance to that. And lastly, the tunica intima, which if you can't see it, it's because it's super thin. It is just one layer, which I'll point at right there. So it's just the thin inner layer of this thing. There's a photograph in the book that shows it a lot better. This is called your endothelium, and it is pretty much exclusively simple squamous epithelium. Arterioles and venules are just smaller versions of these. You can see a little vein there in the bottom and a little artery. I don't know where you'd call that, pick it up at calling it artery or vein or arteriole or venule. And we're not going to see any capillaries in here, but they're super small. Next slide. Here's that same text. Sorry, got lazy. But now you see the model, the blood vessel model down there in the bottom right. So letter A is a valve. You can see right there. It's kind of this little valve shape, this little flap shaped thing. And valves are meant, just like in your heart, to prevent backflow. So if blood comes from down here at the very bottom, whoops, there's that weird thing. Blood comes from down here, I'll draw an X. And it moves into this middle chamber in the vein. Gravity's going to want to push it back, right? But those valves are going to close like this, preventing that. Meantime, you're going to have smooth muscle and other stuff squeezing on these veins, which is going to kind of push it like toothpaste into each of the next successive little vein chambers. The tunics can be seen here. Letter C. I'll start with letter B. Letter B is pointing at least at the endothelium, at that tunica intima. Letter C is on the outer layer of the tunica externa, and letter D is in the smooth muscle of the tunica media. And moving on. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the draw today. Here's a special circulation that supplies your brain. It's called the Circle of Willis. The Circle of Willis, you can see a brain from the underside here. We're looking at it from an inferior view, and your eyes would be aiming up on this screen. So there are many blood vessels that supply this. Some of the major ones are these vertebral arteries you see down in the bottom. There's vertebral artery right there and right there. Those vertebral arteries combine to form what's called the basilar artery. There's a couple of other arteries that come in. They're minor, but there's a lot coming in. So the basilar artery is this big one that supplies this Circle of Willis. You've also got these cerebral arteries, the posterior and anterior. You've got the internal carotids right there. And the whole thing forms this structure that's called a Circle of Willis. And I say it's like a roundabout or a traffic circle. If you've ever been on a traffic circle, you can come in from one direction and leave from any of the other directions. So you can basically access the traffic circle from a lot of different places. If one road to the traffic circle gets shut down for construction, you can get in through 3 other roads. Same thing works with these anastomoses. And if you look at the back of your palm, or the back of your hand, I should say, right now while I'm telling you this, you can see that there's a sort of a hoop of veins that starts on the ulnar side and travels around by the knuckles and then comes back to the radial side. That's another anastomosis. That's your palmar venous anastomosis. You don't have to know that one, but you do have to know the Circle of Willis, and you can see the blood vessels that I expect you to know in orange. They're in your lab book, of course. All right, next one. This is another special circulation called your hepatic portal system. Well, hepatic refers to your liver, which you can see there, and this liver is it's supplied by its own hepatic artery. You have an hepatic artery, which you do have to know, that goes branching from that celiac trunk and goes to the liver, and that brings the oxygenated blood and whatever else the liver needs to it. But it has another supply route. It's got what's called the hepatic portal vein. Most of the time you think of veins going back to the heart. Well, this hepatic portal vein, I'm going to circle right there. That hepatic portal vein comes back to the liver from the organs of your digestive system. You can see them kind of outlined here. So we've got 3 tributaries of the hepatic portal vein: the splenic vein, the inferior mesenteric vein, and the superior mesenteric vein. And you can see all 3 of those, and I've listed their basic, the organs that they drain. They all feed into the hepatic portal vein, which then goes to the liver. So you're bringing all of the nutrients that you get from your digestive system back to the liver, where the majority of these are processed before they are shipped off or turned into something. It's not written here, but you can see these little guys right here, this blue fork, that's what you'd call the hepatic vein. So the hepatic portal vein gets blood from the digestive system and goes to the liver. The hepatic vein or veins go from the liver to the inferior vena cava, just like most other organs, to go back to the heart. And then the last slide in this presentation, I always say at the end, go study the photos, look at watch the videos. It's critical for every chapter, but it's critical that you do that. There's a lot of information in those photos and on that video that you're going to need to, watching the videos, pause and take notes. Watch again, pause and take notes. You're going to have to dump some time into this. There's a lot of blood vessels out there. I've given you guys a limited array of them compared to what's in your lab book. So what I would do if I were you is, when you hear me mention it, or you see it in orange, or it's a photo with the blood vessel's name on it, make a tick mark in your book, and once you total up all those tick marks of stuff I've talked about, that's what you're going to be tested on. Okay, I'm not going to step outside of that. All right, well, thanks a bunch, and good luck out there.